Hello everyone, this is Pooka and welcome to another Pokemon TCG video. Today we're going to look at a deck that personally I feel is a lot of fun to play with, and that is a Zoroark deck. So we looked at this deck a few months ago, and now we're going to revisit it now that Flash Fire is out. Now this deck didn't gain a whole lot from Flash Fire, but we're going to look at it anyway, since again it is a lot of fun and pretty powerful in the right circumstances. So this deck, you're going to see a lot of familiar darkness Pokemon. You're going to see the Yveltal EX. You're going to see the Darkrai EX. We got Absol, Sableye, and regular Yveltal. These are all pretty standard cards you see probably every day if you play on Pokemon TCG Online or if you play Pokemon anywhere. You're pretty much going to see these cards all the time. What you're not going to see is Zoroark. So this is what makes the deck a little unique. We're running a 4-4 line of Zoroark. So we're going to be focusing on this one with the attack Brutal Bash. Does 20 damage times the number of darkness Pokemon you have in play. So automatically that's kind of a cool concept. It does 20 for each darkness Pokemon you have. And as a result, we're going to be running all darkness Pokemon. If you take a look, we actually have a lot of basics. We have 4, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11 basics, all darkness type. That way we can ensure that we can use Brutal Bash for the full amount of damage pretty much at all points in the game. So we can do 120 damage with 6 darkness Pokemon in play. Unfortunately, that's not enough to knock out most big Pokemon these days, but we do have some help in that department. With Hypnotoxic Laser, we can add 10 damage to that. With Verbank City Gym, that's 30 damage we can add to that. And then we have Muscle Band or Silver Bangle, both of which can add damage. Muscle Band will allow us to knock out those 170 HP Pokemon in one hit. And Silver Bangle will allow us to reach all the way to 180 damage in one hit with Brutal Bash, Verbank, Laser, and Silver Bangle. That's a total of 180 damage to a Pokemon EX. So pretty cool that a non-EX Pokemon can actually hit that kind of damage using these tools we have here. Alright, so we have 3 of that Zoroark, and we're actually going to run 1 of the Foul Play Zoroark as well. So this basically just copies one of your opponent's attacks for 2 energy. This is actually very useful against things like a Black Kyurem EX using Black Ballista. You can just do 200 to them right back. You never know when Foul Play is actually going to come up. It's also good against Charizard EX. Believe it or not, we can copy Combustion Blast. And then with a Silver Bangle or Laser and Verbank, we can actually Foul Play a Charizard EX's Combustion Blast and knock it out. That's pretty cool if you ask me. We can also copy a Mega Charizard's attack. So if we happen to run into one of those, we can Foul Play it for 300 damage. So Zoroark, you never know when this guy's going to come in handy. He is definitely a tricky Pokemon, and you never know when it's going to come up. Alright, we also have 4 of this Zoro. We're going to run the one with Ascension. 50 HP is actually really low. I don't like that. Ascension I do like, though. You get to evolve your Zorua immediately. Alright, even if this is your first turn. Of course, if you go second, you can attack still. So we can Ascension going second and evolve right away. Protects our Zorua. It's not as easily knocked out. We get to evolve to Zoroark right away. And yeah, it just sets us up for a nice turn too. We get to search for the evolution right away. Alright, so those are the Pokemon. I guess we can look at our other Pokemon a little bit more, just to serve their purposes. Yveltal EX needs no justification. This card is absurdly good. Evil Ball and Y Cyclone are just very good attacks. I think I've explained this card enough, so I don't really need to anymore. That's just good. Darkrai is mainly going to be used for Dark Cloak, giving free retreat to your Pokemon. Night Spear also good though. 90 and 30 to a benched Pokemon. A lot of the time what happens is Zoroark is just a little short of getting a one-hit knockout, and it leaves a Pokemon EX with like 20 or 30 HP. And then what we can do is use some way to put our opponent's Pokemon to the bench, like an Escape Rope or a Lysander, and then we can Night Spirit later to hit it on the bench, and then hopefully take a 3 or 4 prize turn against those big Pokemon. So Darkrai is definitely good for picking up prizes in big chunks. And 180 HP, Dark Cloak, this card is awesome. Obviously, it's won Worlds the past 2 years, so it's pretty good. Alright, our other Pokemon, Sableye, is just nice to be able to recover some of our resources with Junk Hunt. Absol is awesome for Mind Jack. You never know when this is going to come in handy. Especially good against people that fill up their bench, like those Team Plasma decks actually happen to fill up their bench a lot, so Mind Jack is very useful against those kinds of decks. And then we have one regular Yveltal as well. Oblivion Wing is just a really good attack. 30, and then we get to take a Darkness Energy from the discard and attach it to one of our bench Pokemon. So it's a big 130 HP Pokemon that gets to do a little bit of damage and then power up a Pokemon on the bench as well. Alright, so we've already seen, we have 4 Laser, 2 Verbank, and then our other damage modifiers, Muscle Band and Silver Bangle. We have 2 Level Ball and then 3 Ultra Ball as our searching cards. Just allows us to get our Pokemon in play very quickly. 3 Dark Patch just allows us to power up our Pokemon. Some nice energy acceleration right there. And we have the Escape Rope that we've already looked at. It's a double switch. Both players have to switch. And then the Lysander, that's just a Pokemon catcher in the form of a supporter. Very good card. I feel like almost every deck is playing one of those. For our supporters, we have 4N, 4 Professor Juniper, 2 Skyla, and then 3 Chorus. Nothing too fancy there. And then I guess that's about it. We have Dowsing Machine just to recover some cards with our A-Spec card. It's always good with Sableye as well. Professor's Letter just allows us to search for energy, and our energy just 8 darkness and 3 double colorless. Now this may seem strange. A lot of decks actually go 7 darkness, 4 double colorless, but feels like the darkness energy are important early on for Ascension and all sorts of other things. So we actually only have 3 double colorless. You can easily just swap one out, go 4 DCE and then 7 dark, and then with the Professor's Letter you should be fine. But yeah, this deck is aiming to get one-hit knockouts with Zoroark. It has some strengths over other darkness decks, such as having big non-EX attackers. You don't have to worry about giving up 2 prizes at a time as often. It's a very aggressive deck, so if anybody's a very aggressive player, this is kind of a fun deck to use. You're just brutal bashing over and over, trying to get those knockouts, putting pressure on your opponent. And you also get the benefit of the support of cards like Darkrai and Yveltal EX, which is always awesome. The downside, I feel like this is a little less consistent than the other versions since we are running an evolution line as our main attacker. It's also weak to Virizion EX because we really rely on that Hypnotoxic Laser for damage, right? And if they have Verdant Wind to block the poison, that really affects our ability to get one-hit knockouts. So we do struggle against decks with Virizion EX, but really only the decks that just kind of splash in. Virizion Genesect, the deck isn't particularly difficult. I mean, it's a close matchup, but we can still manage to beat that just by being aggressive with Zoroark. It's the decks that run it like the Aromatisse decks, where they can max potion off the damage, and you can't knock them out in one hit. Those are going to be problematic. So I would say that's the biggest weakness with this Zoroark deck. And, just the fact that you have a 100 HP attacker as your main attacker is going to be fragile. So that's kind of summing up the pros and the cons of the Zoroark deck. But number one pro is the deck is fun. So let's go ahead and take a look at our Zoroark deck in action on Pokemon TCG Online. And we'll see how it works. Alright, so we're going to be going first, which is wonderful. I enjoy going first. We're going to start off with that Zorua, and we also have a Darkrai that we can bench as well. So we see an Entei EX and a Virizion EX. So right away I'm seeing Virizion EX. No! So we'll have to see if we can do something about that. I fortunately do get a Verbank and a Laser right away on the Entei EX, so we can actually get some damage on it before Virizion EX puts an end to our fun. So that maybe we can soften it up for a knockout at some point. We'll have to see. I am actually assuming this is some kind of Aromatisse deck. You don't see Entei and Virizion together ever. So, feels like this is going to be an Aromatisse deck. I'm going to go with the Juniper here, just trying to get a bunch of cards to work with, and then I get that. So not too much I can actually play there, but hey, I'll deal with it. We do see the Fairy Garden, so my suspicions are confirmed. This is indeed an Aromatisse deck, go figure. And there we see the Level Ball for the Spritzy, so right away, yes. I know what I'm going up against. Now, this is not a good matchup. I will say that. If that Virizion EX stays in play, we are going to be in trouble. So our goal here is, well, we have two goals. Try to overrun my opponent before they really get too much going, or try to knock out Virizion EX, because once we take that out, we can start lasering and then getting one-hit knockouts with Brutal Bash and whatnot. Alright, so my opponent didn't play a supporter right there, I don't think. And if that's the case, I'm not going to play any of my supporters. I don't want to Juniper away my hand. I don't want to end my opponent. So we're just going to go with the Ascension after attaching to the benched Zorua. And we'll see what happens from here. Here is a Level Ball for an Aromatisse. Oh, okay, and then my opponent plays an N. That's unfortunate, but we'll deal with it. I was hoping my opponent had had nothing to work with, but looks like we're just holding on to an Aromatisse and an N in that situation. So Entei EX is actually going to get the Muscle Band and a second Energy, and it's going to Fire Fang, it looks like. That's going to do 30, well, 50, and then burn my Zoroark, and that's a Tails on the burn, so that's pretty annoying. But actually, that could end up working out to my benefit. I'm actually going to get a knockout here. Go figure. That 30 damage that we did earlier with the Verbank and the Laser, those are going to come up huge right here. I will be able to Brutal Bash, or actually Dark Rush if I really want to. I forgot to mention that attack. Dark Rush does 20 times the number of damage counters on Zoroark, so that actually adds up very quickly. I'm going to go with the N after attaching the Silver Bangle, and Dark Rush here actually does 170. 140 plus 30 from the Bangle. And we're going to get a quick knockout here on this Entei EX. It's a third turn of the game. We're taking down the big guy. And more importantly, we have gotten rid of all of our opponent's energy. But oh no. We are burned. Got Tails again. So that's not cool. Hopefully I don't flip Tails a third time for burn. Because, well, you know, if Zoroark actually survives, Dark Rush is doing an incredible amount of damage. You cannot leave a Zoroark with 90 damage on it. It will Dark Rush and start blowing your stuff up. I mean, right now this is doing 180 damage. That is dealing with just about everything in the format. I mean, it's hanging on by a thread, but, I mean, that's kind of the cool thing about Dark Rush. You know, the more you're hurt, the more you do, and it adds up very quickly when it's 20 times. But we are just going to see a Xerneas with Geomancy getting some extra energy. So this will be a huge flip for the burn. And alright, we got heads. So that means my Zoroark will survive, and that's going to give me a big opportunity here. I'm going to Skyla for that escape rope. And that's going to force my opponent to make a decision. Which Pokemon does my opponent want to bring out? The Aromatisse, then you lose your energy acceleration. The Darkrai, that's probably the Pokemon you would want to sacrifice here. Or the Virizion EX. And when you lose that, you give me the ability to laser. So, I guess big decision for my opponent. And, oh, the Virizion EX comes out, so we actually get an opportunity to knock it out. This is going to be huge. And this Zoroark is going to go crazy right now. We're going to go promote Sableye here. It just seems like I may have to junk hunt at some point since I'm taking so many prizes so quickly. I'm going to need some protection against N, so I'm going to give my Sableye energy just to prepare for Junk Hunt, and then we'll go ahead and retreat into the Zoroark and Dark Rush for 210 damage. I don't think I've ever done that before. 210 with Dark Rush. That is just silly. And now we'll have to see how will my opponent respond from here. Right, there's a couple of energy in play. Surely there are some kind of attackers my opponent can use at this point. Another energy will power up Darkrai. Maybe like a Xerneas EX and Yveltal EX. There's all sorts of things that can happen in those Aromatisse decks. And my opponent's taking a pretty long time to promote a Pokemon, probably reading Dark Rush at this point, going, what the... How did the 210... What just happened? And where did my Virizion go? What day is it? What is happening in the world? Yes, a Zoroark just knocked out Virizion EX in one hit with Dark Rush. Alright, so we do see a chorus from my opponent for a fresh 7 cards. And now we'll get to see what's going to happen. Ooh, a Landorus EX. Ugh, I don't like seeing that guy. He's a big, bad fighting Pokemon that we don't like to deal with. Yveltal EX can deal with him, but we prefer not to use our Pokemon EX to attack unless we really have to. But here is a Hammerhead that's going to be a knockout. But we will have a small opportunity to win the game here if we can manage to draw a Verbank City Gym and then a Silver Bangle. We're actually going to need to draw Dowsing Machine because the Silver Bangle has been used. But we do have an opportunity to win the game here. It's a small one, but we'll try to take it. I'm going to bench the Absol. We can play Hypnotoxic Laser since that Virizion EX is gone forever. And we're going to put the Muscle Band on the Yveltal EX. Chorus for a massive 9 cards. And, oh, hey, we got it. There's the Verbank City Gym, and here's the Dowsing Machine. Gonna go ahead and grab that Silver Bangle once again, and retreat into the Zoroark, and you can see how fun this deck is. Look at how much damage we're dishing out. Brutal Bash for 150. Take that, you big Pokemon EX. Zoroark is running this town right now. And, I mean... What can you say about that? That was a very quick victory for Zoroark. Dark Rushing and Brutal Bashing our way to 3 straight knockouts in 3 turns. That was pretty impressive by that tricky Zoroark. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will certainly have some more for you soon. I am Pooka from the Top Cut, and I will see you guys next time.